Well, hello again, everybody. You didn't think you were going to get this much junk shop again this quickly, did you? Well, welcome back to Improv Bible Study. We will be diving today into Genesis chapter 47. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for me and turn your notifications on, because you'll want to know when these things sputter out so irregularly. You never know how much junk shop you're getting any given day. 47. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh, and said, My father and my brethren, and their flocks, and their herds, and all that they have, are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, What is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. They said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn in the land are we come. For thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, Thy father and thy brethren are come unto me. The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And if thou knowest any men of activity among them, make them rulers over my cattle. And Joseph brought in Jacob his father, and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, How old art thou? And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, The days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren, and gave them possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren, and all his father's household, with bread, according to their families. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt, and in the land of Canaan, for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph, and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And Joseph said, Give me your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph. And Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, We will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the land of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed, that we may live, and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt even unto the other end thereof. Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned to them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the 5th part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen. And they had possessions therein, and grew, and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, so the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. And the time drew nigh that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph, and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt, but I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. And he said, Swear unto me. And he sware unto him. And Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head. And that's Genesis chapter 47. And you thought your family was cutthroat when it came to monopoly. All right, so back during the 7 fat and happy years, Joseph took the fifth part rather. The 10th part is good enough for God. The 5th part has to go to Pharaoh. Took 20% of everything everybody had, food-wise, and stored it up in these storehouses, and when the famine came, he sold it back to everybody and to the surrounding lands. And now we begin to see the problem. Because having sold to the surrounding lands, as well as to the people of Egypt, the stock starts running low. The price goes up. Egypt runs out of money. The Egyptians come to Joseph and say, Oh, my lord Zaphenath-Paneah, we are out of money. There is no money to buy food. He says, I'll take your livestock for it. So they say, well, what good is livestock if we're dead? So they give him all their livestock, and he gives them food, and that lasts them for a year. Year 2 comes around. They come to the palace, and they say, Oh, my lord Zaphenath-Paneah, we got no food, and we got no cows, and we got no money. And here's what's going to happen if you don't help us out. We are all going to starve to death, and then all of the croplands are going to be dead, and you will be ruler over nada. So Joseph says, I tell you what, why don't I buy you and your land? And then you can farm my land, Pharaoh's land. You can farm Pharaoh's land for me. They say, well, it's that or death. So they sell themselves and all their land for food, except for the priests. You notice the priests apparently enjoy a little bit of that tax-exempt status that, thankfully, being a modern and enlightened people, we have left behind. We don't do anything like that anymore. And the priests get a special allowance of food from the storehouses during the days of great famine, and they don't have to sell their land for food. And so once Joseph has bought up all of the non-church related land and all of the people, he starts shuffling all the people all around and puts them in this city, that city, that city, this city, all over the land, except for the priests. The priests he leaves where they are. I don't know how much I want to get into this. Who am I kidding? Have we met? Churches should not be tax exempt. There's an enormous amount of money, an enormous amount of power, and an enormous amount of land tied up in completely tax-free institutions, and we've got people starving to death in 21st century America while mega pastors at mega churches make mega bucks and then go on TV to whine that they can't afford to buy a 5th private jet. Here endeth the lesson for the day. All right, so after Joseph's done playing the world's most cutthroat game of monopoly the world has ever seen, he gets word that his father is getting on up into old age and feels the end upon him, despite having lived 13 years longer than the 13 years past when he moved down into Egypt, when he was bellyaching to Pharaoh that he hadn't lived as long as his forebears, having only reached the age of 120 or whatever it is. So Joseph goes down, and Jacob/Israel says, I just want you to do one thing for me. Don't bury me here. Send me back up to the cave in the field where, up near Bethel and Beersheba, where our folks get buried. Once I'm dead, schlep me up to the family plot, plant me there. Don't bury me in Egypt. Joseph says, okay. Jacob says, swear it. Joseph says, I swear it. And Jacob dies. And that's the end of the chapter. In which Joseph bought the entire population of Egypt into indentured servitude, and pretty much nothing else happens. All right, well, we'll see you again soon for chapter 48. I don't know what's going on with my camera right now. I hope that doesn't translate into the final cut. We'll see. All right, well, poke the poke to subscribe. Check out the rest of the playlist over here.